I'm curious, what sort of holiday foods have you been enjoying over the last few days?
Well, I've been eating everything that's put in front of me. I've been eating pasta, which I love. Yeah. Eating a lot of chicken parmesan. I've been eating all Italian foods, basically.
And ice cream.
And ice cream, chocolate chip ice cream.
И главное, что нас объединяло и объединяет, это судьба Отечества. Глубокое понимание высочайшей значимости того исторического этапа, через который проходит Россия. Тех масштабных целей, которые стоят перед обществом. И той колоссальной ответственности за Родину, которую чувствует каждый из нас.
This is my video update on this Monday morning, January the 1st, 2024. Happy New Year, everybody. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with this exclusive from ABC News. The U.S. to bring back aircraft carrier from Eastern Mediterranean. The USS Gerald R. Ford will leave in coming days, 2 U.S. officials say. So, are we seeing a New Year's miracle? Are we seeing a de-escalation in the Middle East? The answer is no, that is not what we are seeing. A senior U.S. official and a U.S. official told ABC News that in the coming days, the carrier and other surface ships that make up the strike group will return to the carrier's home port of Norfolk, Virginia, as originally scheduled, so it could prepare for future deployments. The senior U.S. official stressed that the carrier's return will keep to that schedule and that even with the Ford's departure, the United States will still have a lot of military capability in the region and flexibility, including the deployment of additional cruisers and destroyers in the Mediterranean and the Middle East. So the USS Ford, it is going to be returning to the United States because that is what it was scheduled to do. From what I understand, it has been out to sea for a while now, and it's time to return back to the United States. And as this U.S. official made it clear, just because the USS Ford is leaving the Middle East, it does not mean that the United States does not have the military resources and capability to begin a war. And according to the Times of UK, that is what we might be seeing in the Middle East, specifically towards Yemen. According to the Times UK, the United Kingdom is preparing to attack the Houthis. London has reportedly drafted a final warning to the Yemeni militants, which may be followed by airstrikes. Britain is preparing to launch airstrikes against Yemen's Houthi militants in response to a wave of attacks on commercial ships in the Red Sea, the Times reported on Sunday. The U.S. and another European country will also take part in the strikes, the newspaper claimed. So the Houthis, Yemen, they're going to get a final warning. Stop attacking ships in the Red Sea. If they don't heed this warning, then we are going to get an attack by the U.S., UK towards Yemen. And we have a secret, according to this article from the Times, we have a secret European country which has not been revealed, which is going to be joining the US and the UK on these strikes against Yemen. Now, if I had to take a guess, what is that secret European country? I would guess, well, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? What is the country that might possibly join the US and the UK to attack Yemen? I would say the safe bet is France, but maybe Norway, Denmark, perhaps Denmark, given the fact that many of the container ships that use this route are Maersk container ships. So maybe that may be the secret European country. Let me know in the comments down below what country is going to join the US and the UK if this final warning is not heeded by the Houthis, which will not be. I don't expect Yemen to stop hitting the ships that are passing the Red Sea because of this warning. But we do have some news connected to Maersk, the shipping company, which one of its ships was hit yesterday. And I talked about this in my video update yesterday. And after that ship was hit, there were reports that the U.S. they attacked the Houthis that hit this Maersk ship, and they actually, from what I read, I can't confirm this, they actually killed 10 Houthis who were going after this Maersk container ship. But we do have reports that Maersk is now going to be suspending its shipping via the Red Sea after this incident. So the Maersk container ships, they were supposed to be protected by the OPG, Operation Prosperity Guardian, and the OPG did not work. The U.S. warships, they were unable to protect the Maersk ships, and so after this attack, Maersk said, "That's it, we're out. We are going to now go the long way, and for the time being, we're not going to be going through the Red Sea." But let me read you this tweet from Mohammed Morandi, and it's connected to the strikes on Maersk over the last couple of days. And let me read you the response from Mick Wallace. So here's what Morandi, Saeed Mohammed Morandi, I believe Professor Morandi, this is what he said. Yemeni armed forces didn't kill a single person. They blocked ships traveling to and from the ports of the Israeli regime to stop genocide. But the thugs in Washington murdered 10 Yemeni naval officers who all had families. And then Mick Wallace replied to this X post by saying, now we have Western governments calling on Iran to ask Houthis to stop interfering with ships which are facilitating a genocide in Gaza. Why don't they ask Israel to stop the genocide in Palestine? Are there no limits to Western hypocrisy? A rhetorical question from the EU, one of the very few exceptional EU Parliament members, Mick Wallace. So yesterday on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, we had the Zelensky regime, the Ukraine military, shelling the city of Donetsk. Ukraine fires massive barrage at Donetsk. According to officials, at least 4 people were killed in the Donbas city during its first shelling in 2024, a local official has said. So, according to reports, the Ukraine military on New Year's Day, on the changeover from 2023 to 2024, they decided to shell the city of Donetsk, and they hit civilian infrastructure, civilian populated areas, I believe including a museum. And this is what I was talking about yesterday, I guess, in my video update, which is the push by the Zelensky regime to escalate and essentially cause chaos so that Russia could be baited into escalating back. And come January 8th, 9th, because Ukraine would be back in the news due to this renewed escalation, the Congress would then approve the $61 billion in aid to Ukraine. desperation on the part of the Zelensky regime, but it is going to warrant some sort of retaliation from Russia. I imagine Russia's going to have to retaliate to this attack on Donetsk city, but as I said in my video yesterday, I don't think that this is going to knock Russia off course, or that Russia is going to retaliate in a way that will somehow create the narrative or push the narrative towards some sort of congressional approval of the 61 billion to the Zelensky regime. But make no mistake about it, that's what this is all about. This is desperation on the part of the Zelensky regime, a regime which doesn't have the weapons to do this. I mean, as I said in multiple videos, none of this makes any military strategic sense. There's no strategic value to what the Zelensky regime is doing, and they don't really have the resources and the weapons to do this, to afford to do this. But what they're hoping for is that if they launch all kinds of attacks towards Belgorod or Donetsk city, they're hoping that this will create the conditions for chaos, which will push Congress to approve the 61 billion. So it is an act of desperation from the Zelensky regime. But we do have news on the attack on Belgorod. According to an anonymous source, which spoke to RT, that the attack on Belgorod was ordered by none other than Zelensky himself. And according to this anonymous source from RT, Zelensky told Budanov, who's the AI android robot intel chief, told Budanov to go ahead with this operation. Budanov then told this regiment known as Kraken, which is stationed in Kharkiv, and Kraken then launched the attack into Belgorod. Now, Kraken is, from what I understand, is an offshoot of the NAZI Azov. And so they're stationed in Kharkiv, and these are the guys that Budanov told to launch an attack towards Belgorod. So let me read you what RT said here via an anonymous source. Saturday's attacks on Belgorod was launched by the notorious Kraken regiment. The source told RT the unit is composed primarily of veterans of another infamous Ukrainian ultranationalist force, the Azov Regiment, and other neo-NAZI fighters and volunteers. Based in the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv, located less than 100 kilometers away from Belgorod, the Kraken Regiment is formally a special forces unit under the command of the GUR and is thus answerable to Budanov. So the fact that this operation was organized and launched out of Kharkiv pretty much guarantees that Russia will capture Kharkiv. There were some doubts as to what the plan was with Kharkiv, and by the Putin administration, what they were planning to do with Kharkiv. But now that you've had this attack on Belgorod, and according to various reports and various sources, including a missile strike that hit the Kharkiv Palace Hotel, which allegedly was housing 200 mercenaries and these Kraken these Kraken regiment guys. I think it's now pretty safe to say that if and when Russia does go on the offensive, that Kharkov is going to be captured in full, in its entirety, and returned back to the Ruski Mir. So the end result of this attack on Belgorod is that it has guaranteed that Kharkov is going to be on the list for the Putin administration when and if they go on the offensive. So Medvedev, he gave his 2024 New Year's statement, and he said something interesting in his statement. He said that the coming year should witness the ultimate defeat of neo-fascism, an ideology Russia's enemies are trying to rekindle decades after it was dealt a powerful blow during World War II, the former president said. So that's an interesting statement from Medvedev. It points to the fact that this year Russia will be ending the conflict in Ukraine. They will defeat neo-fascism, the ultimate defeat of neo-fascism in Ukraine. But Medvedev also says that this ideology is being rekindled by Russia's enemies, and he is implying the collective West. He is basically saying that it is the collective West that are trying to establish a neo-fascism order. An interesting statement from Medvedev. Chinese leader Xi Jinping, he said in his New Year's address that China will definitely be reunited. And I quote, "Compatriots on both sides of the Taiwan Strait should unite and share the great glory of national rejuvenation." So that was Xi Jinping's message for the new year. A reunification for China. And let's see here, before I get to my clown world, let's do one more quick story. The Zelensky regime, as they're looking for new soldiers to send to the front lines, they have established checkpoints throughout Ukraine, including checkpoints on the borders of Ukraine, specifically the borders of Ukraine and Eastern Europe. And a lot of the humanitarian aid workers and other people that are trying to leave Ukraine for various reasons, they have permission to leave Ukraine, but they're trying to cross over the borders, are now finding it very difficult to leave the country. Border guards are reportedly demanding certificates from recruitment offices, even from those permitted to exit. So I'm just bringing up this story because this is going to be a sign of things to come in Ukraine 2024. The Zelensky regime, they are going to do everything they can to find soldiers to send to the front lines. And they're going to seal up the borders, and they're going to put checkpoints everywhere. And I think we're going to see a lot of images and videos of recruitment officers roaming the streets of Kiev and Odessa and other cities in Ukraine, trying to find Ukrainian men to send to the front lines. So that's going to be something that we're going to see a lot of in 2024, because the mobilization efforts, this 500,000 number that someone in the Ukraine government put out there. We don't know if it was Zelensky. We don't know if it was Zaluzhny. No one is taking accountability for this 500,000 number. But anyway, it's out there, and it is not going very well for the Zelensky regime to get to this 500,000 mobilization goal. I remember when the collective West media was making fun of Russia when they did their partial mobilization. And I remember how the collective West media was making fun of Russia and how the partial mobilization was a disaster and Russia's incompetent and Putin's incompetent. But now that we're seeing that Ukraine is unable to even get started on any type of mobilization, the collective West media, they're not saying anything about Ukraine's mobilization efforts. Anyway, let's do a couple of clown worlds and we will wrap this video up. And let's start off with SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried. According to the New York Post, the DOJ accused of covering for deep state by not holding second SBF trial on illegal political donations. Disgrace. So let me read you what the New York Post is reporting with regards to crypto kingpin Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX. Federal prosecutors said Friday that they do not plan to proceed with a second trial against Sam Bankman-Fried, citing public interest in a speedy resolution of the case that has seemingly irritated those who were hoping to see the disgraced FTX founder prosecuted to the fullest extent. Public interest in a speedy resolution. Whose public interest is it for a speedy resolution? The Democrats, the globalists, the elite class, they have a public interest in seeing this story go away. The rest of the world, we want to see what was going on with Sam Bankman-Fried, crypto, SBF, and Ukraine. SBF, FTX, crypto, Democrats, and Ukraine. I want to see what kind of washing was going on. But no, for public interest reasons, we need to not have a second trial, and we need to end this thing quickly. In a Friday letter filed in federal court in Manhattan, prosecutors said they do not plan to proceed with a second trial, as much of the evidence that would be offered in a second trial was already offered in the first trial and can be considered by the court at the defendant's March 2024 sentencing. Given that practical reality and the strong public interest in a prompt resolution of this matter, the government intends to proceed to sentencing on the counts for which the defendant was convicted at trial, the prosecutors added. Yeah, this guy's going to get off. He's going to get off. He's going to get sentenced to something very light. He'll do prison time in a country club type of facility, and eventually he'll be let go once everyone has forgotten about Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX and all of the crypto washing that was taking place. He'll be let go and he'll pop up in about 10, 15 years doing something somewhere. That's for sure. What a disgrace. What a disgrace the legal system of the United States is evolving into. Anyway, we are getting news that Bill Clinton is going to be named as Doe 36 in the Epstein court documents that are going to be released in the coming weeks. This is according to ABC News. Hundreds of sealed court filings pertaining to the late offender Epstein are set to be made public this week, and several prominent names, including Britain's Prince Andrew and former President Bill Clinton, are expected to appear in the documents, ABC News reported. According to ABC News, Bill Clinton is named as Doe 36 in more than 50 redacted filings. So Andrew and Clinton are going to be two names on the list of names. I believe something like 147 or 37 names that are going to be revealed. Clinton, Epstein. Those are two of those names. Clinton Andrews are two of those names on these Epstein documents. Anyway, let's wait and see what other names are revealed. That is the video, theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Rockfin, and Twitter X. And go to the Duran shop. 20% off. Use the code TheDuran20. Take care.
Julian Assange then has become enemy number one, but he should be, and I don't say this lightly, he should be hero number one. Hero number one, because if we lose the Assanges, and there aren't many of them, if a handful maybe, there's certainly no one like him, if we lose the WikiLeaks, then we lose a whole strata of freedom. We stop questioning.